Yo, what's up, guys? It is Charles with How About the Hustle, and today we are talking to Brian Esposito. He actually is one of the founding members of BAPES, which is one of the NFT communities that we went over in a video. So today we'll be talking to his involvement with BAPES, what he's expecting about the project, what he likes about it, and also he's got a traditional background, in business and finance. So it'll be cool to get his perspective on NFTs and what he thinks about them. And that'll also give us kind of a look at what the outside business world and what a little bit of the older world tech is thinking of this new scene. So here it is, y'all. If you wouldn't mind telling us your name and what your typical role in business and finance would be.
Yeah, of course. So Brian J. Esposito, CEO and founder of Esposito Intellectual Enterprises. I built a holding company over the last 20 years. It's wholly owned by me at the top level. And then underneath it, there's now over 85 different entities. There's over 150 joint ventures from around the world, and proudly operating over 25 different industries. And what I love to do with this chapter of my career is take everything I built. So it's my access, relationships, my companies or partnerships, and resources to help startups and up to Fortune 500 companies create new value, find ways to succeed, become profitable, grow your company organically and through your cash flows, and give them all the tools and resources they need to become successful. And I created this because I needed it for what I was doing. I was always a founder. I know the pitfalls that they go through, the hurdles, the setbacks. And it's great to take all my experiences forward to these companies and give them a chance to succeed based on my guidance and advisement.
Oh, wow. That's cool. What was your first business?
I was a beauty supply company. So in the late 90s, I built the
Okay.
first B2B, B2C e-commerce platform for beauty. Great timing, taught myself the code. We launched over 1,200 brands, selling millions of products around the world. We were Amazon's first beauty luxe retailer. I was Jet.com's first retailer. I got to help the Walmart e-commerce team build out their beauty category. So the beauty industry allowed me to start working with the fashion industry, the music industry, the technology industry, and I just kept building products. I kept building companies. And that's what allowed me to be where I am today from that industry, which touches many other different industries, and it's also proven to be pandemic proof. Beauty's a
Wow.
remarkable industry.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense. People still have mirrors even when they're in their houses.
that's right. And
Yeah.
people spend their last dollar to look good because it makes them feel good, and that's part of building confidence, empowerment, and keeping people feeling like they can accomplish something.
Huh, yeah, that makes sense. I did hair cutting for quite a while, and it's
There you go.
interesting just the difference between somebody giving them a good haircut. Just so they look in the mirror and
Right?
instantly there's such a stark contrast so quickly. You're like, wow, the
You're right.
confidence that came from a haircut,
Right?
you're the
They
exact
stand
same
taller.
person.
They
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
it's that's great that you have that experience. Yeah, it's a good feeling as the operator, like you, the stylist, where you also feel good by seeing them really like what you did. So
Yeah.
there's two people feeling good in that situation, or two people feeling bad if it was if it was a bad
Yeah,
haircut.
bad haircut for sure. Yeah, wow. Okay. And then I was gonna ask, what is your role in Bapes and how did you get involved? You know?
A founding member of BAPES. Again, I'm a big believer in the universe, opportunities, meeting people,
Okay.
nurturing relationships. So throughout my journey, I got introduced to the original core founder of BAPES, a gentleman by the name of Eric. Phenomenal guy, dear friend now. He's Hiroshima. If you see on the BAPES community, he's right there with me doing these podiums and Discord and building the Twitter community. And we're working 24/7 to keep everybody excited, drop these
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
partnerships. So when I met and I met him through Congarna. I work very closely with Team Congarna, the Fortnite guy, Mo. So that esports team that does the box fight championships or BFC. I have the honor of working with them over the last 2 years, and they're working with Eric because he's the CEO of Pluck and tokenizing all esports players. So they're working on that great project. And then when Eric had this concept to build the Bapes uh, project, Congarna introduced me to him right away, saying that he needed to speak with me, and I just fell in love with where it could go,
Okay.
and I was all in. We took his original amazing concept, and we just we poured gasoline on it. We added all of my relationship strategy. How can we create real value, and how can we really give back to an amazing community that's built in all these different NFT projects? But how can we do something different and take all of my relationships and bring them here to really participate in this journey? And I think from what you're seeing and how we got to meet, there's definitely something happening there. And this is
Yeah,
all
no,
organic.
definitely. Yeah.
We didn't pay for any advertising or marketing. Last week we put up the Splash website page, created the Discord server, and launched Twitter. And something happened overnight where it just went viral, and it continues to do so. And the what I'm really loving is the positivity, because I'm right there answering as many people as I can. I'm getting wonderful direct messages from tremendous people that are part of this, but it's so positive. And then all the ambassadors that we brought in, they're also positive. It's just good people, genuine people. They built great careers in their industries, and they want to be part of this. And it's just amazing. And hopefully we can continue this great positive impact, and really launch something special into the NFT market.
Yeah, it had seemed like what's different, specifically about your guys is typically, an NFT project is pretty young cats, like
Yeah.
very young dudes.
What are you saying?
No, no, I'm saying that basically you guys are coming at this from a super, a hyper, I'd say like old tech or old business style with kind of
Yeah.
a new spin on it. While, that is not typically your NFT look. It is like all new style, like all crypto, all sphere. And it kind of had seemed like Bapes was um almost like a fund. Like you guys would use the initial mint price for everything, and then you would invest in other projects and people would win with you guys. Is that kind of how it's going to be going?
Yeah, so it's the world's first MetaVestor meta fund, right? So we have MetaVens and we have Meta Awards. So what we're going to be getting behind are the projects that Bapes is going to support, are going to be Metaverse Web 3.0 related projects, or companies or startups. And then it gets really fun by the whole community is going to be involved in that process. So as a Bapes NFT holder, you vote on which project we should get behind as a community.
Yeah.
And that's the one. That's the one that we push forward, and then we give that project all the resources it needs, and that's across the board. It's not just financial support and whatever that looks like. It's the ambassadors now coming in, and we're very strategic about who these ambassadors are. These
Yeah,
Bapes
yeah.
ambassadors, they all have done amazing things in their career, and they have access that money can't buy, which is very important. A lot of companies or projects can get well funded, but if they don't have a strategy or they don't have access into a market, it becomes very difficult. And then you start to spend money that you wouldn't had to spend if you had the right channel to
I
get into that
see.
market.
Yeah, absolutely.
So really reducing, I often call this de-risking the moment. And I've done this throughout the last 5 or 6 years of my career. I'm tired of going after things in the hopes of building something. I want to build something that has immediate value from day one. And based on my experiences in the world that I created, we can do that. And then with this amazing Bapes clan, and with Eric and the rest of this amazing team, it's the Douglas, Mike, Mo, a remarkable woman, Sherry, who's helping organize all of the inbound. And then you could see, we're being very specialized as to who we're announcing next, the next Bapes ambassador. And we announced today a phenomenal guy from Meta to help on risk. So, it's just a killer team, such credibility, great
Yeah,
character,
yeah.
great integrity. And when we launch a project that the Bapes community want vote on, that project's going to have every possible option to succeed, and that will help grow what we built here, and that
I
will add
see.
value to all the NFT holders. And
Yeah.
then we have great access on the travel side. We're going to be announcing some really unique opportunities in the hospitality space, the restaurant space, because it's all about community and what can we do together to bring people together and have those great experiences, have that great access. Yesterday, I don't know if you saw, we launched an announcement with Star Jets International. It's a public private aviation company for jet chartering. So what can we do in that space and bring those IP, or those very expensive private jets that are sitting on FBOs or private airports around the world? with Star Jets and Ricky Sittimer, their CEO. We're going to digitize those jets and we're going to bring them into the metaverse. So with access to an NFT from Bapes, maybe you'll be sitting on LeBron James's airplane in the metaverse, or maybe you'll be hanging out
Interesting.
with a top business person. And then the fun part is bringing it to real life. Now, how do you bring the metaverse or
Yeah,
virtual
yeah.
reality reward into real life? So maybe there's a moment you can actually sit on that actual plane and go from one city to another and sit next to your favorite sports star, entertainer, business person. So all these things are possible when you have a network of great people that want to make a difference, and even
Wow.
more possible with this phenomenal community that just continues to grow and really connect with what we're saying.
Wow, dang, that's awesome. Yeah, I've been talking to one of my friends and I keep telling them about NFTs and there's a lot of I wouldn't even say stigma, I'd say ignorance in the space.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how it was this and that. And what I think, and I'm going to ask you this, but for me, I think there was too much misunderstanding in the space to really invest. And I think it's the same with ignorance. And I thought originally people were buying pictures, and maybe originally it was, but it has tangent off into something else entirely. Almost like even when crypto was kind of blowing up, it turned into something for me where I was like, it's almost like a stock, but you can trade it with other people. And you have
Exactly how I described it. Yeah.
yes, yes. And then when NFTs happened, I was like, man, it's like we've got value that's happens to be a JPEG, but realistically, it's really opportunity. And you're
Yeah.
trading opportunity with other people and it costs a certain amount. I was trying to tell somebody, I was like, man, it's not just pictures. I was like, one day, the only way you'll be able to get into a dancing club is if you own a Bored Ape Yacht Club. The
Yeah.
only way you'll be able to get into is if
That
you're part of
access.
the access,
Yeah.
dude. It's not about the picture. It never was. This is community. So no, I
And
think we're gonna say
I just
please.
want to touch on one point because I love where your mind was going, because the older generation doesn't understand crypto,
Yep.
and that's okay. They just don't see it, they don't believe it, and they're intimidated by it. So there's a little bit of learning curve, and they'll catch up. It's like any new asset class that comes to market.
Okay.
But I explained it the same way that you did. You have certain levels of public stocks. You have New York Stock Exchange, and that would be your top crypto projects or companies that have real value, that are doing real business. Then you have Nasdaq, and then you have S&P, and then you have over the counter and pink sheets, and those are the stocks that you take a bet on.
Yeah.
Maybe one out of 1,000 do something, but there's no real business model behind it. And those are
Okay.
other crypto projects that are really fluff or vaporware, and they're not really anything there. So I love that you had the same correlation, because that's how I was explaining it
Yeah. Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah,
awesome,
no. Yeah,
love that.
it just felt like, when we were trading stocks back and forth, I was like, man, the exchange is the big boy taking cuts. But when crypto
Yeah,
happened, you don't need it anymore. It's person to person. So,
yeah.
okay. Okay, so not coming from a typical NFT background, what is your interest and how did you hear about them?
I've been in the digital crypto space for over 10 years, so we have tremendous projects, one of which is Nodal. We launched Nodal Cash. It's the world's largest wireless network without building a single cell tower or Wi-Fi station. We've given everybody the ability to earn cryptocurrency by downloading the Nodal Cash app. So you can just go to your Apple or your Android device, download Little Cash, and what happens is you opt into our network, and as you pass by an IoT device or a Bluetooth device that's broadcasting out data, you will utilize your phone as a gateway. You collect that little packet of data, and you send it up to the cloud, and for that you get rewarded Nodal Cash. So we're really disrupting the whole advertising
Huh.
model for these
Wow.
apps that are collecting all kinds of data on you and reselling your data, and or impacting your experience on that app. We're very privacy focused. And then we did an exclusive NFT drop with Nodal for the Matrix that came out with the artist that did the red pill, blue pill. So that was
Oh,
one
wow.
really fun NFT
Yeah.
project. The the other one is Turncoin. Turncoin, 5 years of development. We went public in July, sitting just under a $15 billion valuation. It's a Cape Town, South African company, and we developed a mechanism where you can buy virtual shares of people. So it was an NFT project where you can trade virtual shares. Like, if I think you're going to become the next best interviewer musician, the next best stylist. I can buy, you can issue your virtual shares on the Virtual Stacks app, which is owned by Turncoin. And then you can issue shares of yourself to your friends, your peers, your colleagues to be part of your
Interesting.
journey. And as you excel in your career, your virtual share price goes up, or as you become more popular, or you make a big impact, or you have a news announcement. So there's that model. Like if you think of a GoFundMe and yourself going
Yeah,
public, you can actually have people support you on your journey. And then for people that are already well-established celebrities, entertainers, actors or actresses or influencers, you have a great liquidity event. You can put your virtual shares up on the Virtual Stacks app. All your fans around the world can buy your virtual shares, and
I
you have
see.
an incredible moment to really capitalize on your popularity. So that project has the full support and investment from the likes of Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Randy Jackson, David Meltzer, and a list of other incredible, really valuable, important people to help that believe in that project to really fuel people's passions and open up opportunities for them to continue on their dreams and to be on a path that they want to be on rather than being forced to be on a path that they don't want to be on.
I see. Wow.
So I've been in the space, but I've always, for me, I always do things correctly. Like the NFT market, the crypto market, it's a gray area. So I have to work with our legal, our regulatory, our compliance, and say, how can
Yep.
we be in the space but do it right? You know, that same thing with Babes. How can we be in the space, but we got to do it right? You know, we're
Yep.
building a great community. We're building a great project. We're doing something that's never been done before. So there's such, there's such it's called like a fiduciary duty to make sure that we don't harm the community that we're working with. All regulatory, we have great legal lined up to help guide us, and we just need to make sure that, just like the business ambassadors we brought in to protect the future projects that Babes gets behind, we also have to have remarkable accounting, legal, and compliance to ensure that what we've created is safe and that we can operate with this in different markets around the world, especially the U.S. market, and make sure that we're transparent. And as you can see, we're very transparent. We're
Yeah.
showing
Yeah.
everybody what we plan on doing. And so, yeah, I've been in the space, but it's always how can I be in the space with our own projects, and how can I add value with our own companies and projects, but make sure that we do it correctly.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a stark contrast in comparison because anonymity seems to be extremely important in crypto. And it's like one of the great fights for crypto is that people want to be able to not have to KYC every decision that you make, every choice, every
Yeah.
split. It's the right to exchange, inherently between people without having, some middleman as an exchange garter. So you're kind of taking a different look at it because you're really not going anonymous at all. You guys are just putting everything out there. Yeah.
Yeah, we want to be transparent. The, a lot of there's a lot of very successful entities that are using the word disrupt. They're going to disrupt banking. They're going to disrupt governments, and they're fighting that fight. And I wish them luck. I don't want to be in that fight. I want to be in a
Yeah.
chat. I want to be in a channel to operate legally what we can do. And when the moment opens up where we can do other things, I want to be right there the next minute and turn the floodgates on. Well, now we can do this. But in the
I
meantime, how
see.
do we blend the new world and the old world, not be a target, and make sure that we can, just maneuver carefully and do great things, build great value, build great experience, access, and rewarding capabilities for our Babes NFT holders,
Okay.
but do it in a way where this doesn't stop. I want to make sure
I
that we
see.
can keep doing what we're doing, and when the moment is safer for us to go down another path with it, or enhance the path that we're on, then we're going to do it, but we're just
Okay.
going to do it correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Is there something you'd say to NFT creators as far as like first things first, protecting yourself? I mean, you're talking about a brand new space, and
Yeah.
there definitely is some legal gray area because they're trying to figure out as fast as they can where everything falls. If this is traditional asset management or if it's something else entirely. Especially because it mixes, like your project specifically, there's such a mix between art and investment. And so, no, I didn't know if there's a couple things you'd say for anybody who's starting a project. Like, man, you might want to cross these T's and dot these I's first.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is put yourself in harm's way. There's always a way to play in a hot market. And there'll be corrections. And when there's a correction, don't panic. Just make sure you have some resources put aside where you can pick up some assets or some of these NFT or digital assets that have a correction moment. It happens in
Yeah.
oil prices, it happens in housing, it happens in the stock market. Every industry faces a correction moment, and it's healthy. In this situation, it gets very magnified because there's just so much youth and interest, and you really only see crypto and NFT popping up on every platform that you're on. So when there's a little bit of a correction or a pullback, the whole world is crying fire, and it's but it's okay. Just
Yeah.
it's part of the journey. It's part of the journey. There's nothing that goes straight up besides a spaceship, but it comes back down to earth. So
Yeah.
you have to be smart about being part of the journey, be part of the journey as safely as you can. Don't risk things you can't afford to lose, because you need good mental health and wellness to enjoy your life. So if you're in this space or any space, just make sure that you're doing it in a healthy way where you enjoy it. It's exciting. If you win, it's great. If you lose, it's great. And that's one of the
I
reasons why I
see.
don't
Yeah.
gamble in a casino, because I can never make or lose enough to affect my life. It's just, to me, it's not for me. But if I do play, it's $100 playing blackjack. If I lose, I walk away. If I make 100, I pick it up and I go eat dinner on the casino. So
I
that
see.
should be the way that you think about getting involved in anything. And it's great to see those big wins that people have. I think it does do these crypto millionaire or crypto billionaires a disservice if they're young, because that's not normal. You got
Yeah.
very lucky with timing. You got very lucky to be smart enough to get in, but making money takes work.
Yeah.
Building wealth takes work. So it's harder to keep money than it is to make money. So my one of my major concerns is all this young wealth that we're smart enough to do it, and God bless them. But I just want to make sure that they know that they got so blessed with that windfall to be smart with the money. And that's why things like BAPES are important. If you want to be in this space, look for projects that is always trying to add value. Look for projects that just wants to do wealth enhancement, wealth preservation, and excitement. Right? It's all about momentum. We have momentum right
Yeah.
now, so I want to make sure that we stay on this ride, and make sure everything we do, everything we say is correct, accurate, and with good people. And right now we're batting 1,000 on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we have enough momentum and hype to last 10 years in comparison to a lot of industries. So, especially because you said young people have such a vigor, and, they're, when you're talking about like, terms like YOLO and stuff like that, a
Yeah,
young mindset is like, man, you're only going to do this once. Like, you might as well put it all in. And, I could definitely see that being a difficulty, because when you win once when you're young, a lot of times it was vigor instead of
yeah,
intelligence. And vigor will cost you. It will. It'll cost you big in the long run, because you'll bet wrong. You'll bet wrong.
yeah, yeah. It's that
Um,
experience that helps you make those accurate decisions.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think we covered that. Okay. This is a question. What do you kind of moving into NFTs, what do you think is something that the sector does well?
From what I've seen, is that community build is like nothing I've ever seen in my life. It's if you look at an NFT like a brand, and that's how I look at it. Again, I've
Yeah.
launched a lot of brands in my career. Building a brand takes a lot of work, typically takes a lot of money, a lot of hours, blood, sweat, and tears, going to trade shows or going to industry expos, promoting online, and it's a slow grind unless you get like a Kim Kardashian or someone to like pick it up one day and
Yeah.
take a picture of it. So it's to be able to build an audience like these projects are building is miraculous, because that's not
Hmm.
normal. And that's why it's important when you get the audience, be conscious of your messaging, be consistent, listen to them, and build upon it. Because if you get 1,000 people on a Twitter NFT, that's amazing, because you probably didn't spend anything, but you connected with an audience. Now build that. I built all my companies one customer at a time, and I know what it takes to really build a community, or people that believe in your product, they want your product, or they want to use your product. So what's fascinating to me is that you can, like we did it with Bapes, you can build a community overnight if you have the right branding, the right messaging, the right images. We have incredible talent that's designing these NFTs. So to me, they're best looking ones I've seen. And I
Yeah,
hope
yeah,
somebody in a different project comes out and does something better, because I just want to see this thing continue to evolve. I want to see people continue to listen to the community and create great assets. And so to me, it's the biggest phenomenon I'm seeing is just being able to build an audience and do it quickly and
yeah, yeah,
relatively cheap if you have the reach and you have the story.
yeah, yeah. I think a lot of times, especially when you get something like a Bored Ape Yacht Club that goes from a point zero 0.08 mint, which is depending on Ethereum's price, roughly $150 to $350, and going all the way up to a $200,000
Crazy.
evaluation. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. A $200,000 valuation, like no home gets built for $150 and then goes up to 200K. So I think a lot
Right.
of times, community is built around a narrative in one part, but I think a lot of times a lot of people are looking for the next thing that's going to make money, and it's in some ways
You're right.
it's a flippers market.
Yeah.
And I basically say this to say is what's interesting about it being in the space is that a lot of times you go for the Discord for the flip, but you accidentally stayed because of the community.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
you're right.
yeah, I guess it's happened to me that way a lot, where I accidentally got to know people and I didn't mean to. I meant to make money. I meant to be financially responsible and make smart
Eh,
decisions. And you got to know people and you started to love these people because it is just people, but when you're investing in stocks or something, you're not meeting exchanges.
No,
You're not
no.
going down and you're not talking to anybody. It's so fast moving. Nobody's interested in that. So, no, it
Yeah,
definitely,
that's how we met. So I'm very grateful that you found Babes because I got
yeah.
to speak with you.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And what do you think? Okay, so what do you think are some things the space doesn't do well yet?
I think they don't think about doing things the right way, and that's okay. And like I said, I have 20 years of experience to guide me on how I want to work and who I want to work with. So I don't think they don't go through the proper channels, even doing a trademark. Like you're building these great NFT projects with these really great names, and you're building this great community, but nobody filed a trademark, and
Huh.
nobody's thinking about
Yeah.
having having smart accounting. Like we try to use Markham for all of our accounting in every industry because they're a top SEC auditing firm and they lead the way in new industry on what is the proper accounting and what are the proper rules. So there's no issues. Yeah, the last thing anybody wants to do is if you have a win, you want to enjoy that win. You don't want to worry
Mm,
about did I do anything wrong. So be a little bit preventative and
yeah.
build the foundation correctly, and then you can build a skyscraper on top of it. But if you don't build the foundation correctly, you're not going to be able to build anything of substance over it. And unfortunately that means spending some money, ensuring you have the right legal protection, not just legal protection. It's got to be the right legal protection, a firm that understands what
Mm,
you're trying to do, that understands the space and will be a partner with you, not just a billable client. And same with accounting and compliance. So it sounds old and boring. I get it. It
yeah,
is
yeah.
old and boring and expensive, but you should just these projects should just be very careful.
Yeah.
At least in the U.S. market. I mean, there's projects that can come out of different regions where there's no regulation at all. Those uh, people are fine. They just make something great and build value and sell it to a community. But when you're operating in markets like the US where there's a lot of rules, just make sure that you're staying within the rules and that you have a good protection in the event that something questionable comes up. You can properly address it, correct it, or work with the regulatory or government agencies to keep the project alive.
Wow. Okay. And why would it be important for them to have a trademark? What does that
Well,
do
you're
for a
building a
brand?
brand.
Okay.
Yeah, you're building a brand. You protect the brand. So do everything you can to protect your brand. It's a piece of IP. It's another and if so many reasons. If you're gonna build a brand, protect the name. So come up with a name that you can trademark, which we did with Bapes. And then the other thing is you can protect the brand if someone wants to replicate or mimic your brand and go and confuse the market or go after your community or come up with something close. Like nobody can come up with a Bapes NFT now because we were the first to file a trademark. Well, they can, but at least we have something to reference and something to say you're infringing upon
Hmm.
our NFT in this space. Someone can create a Bapes go-kart. We're not in that space. Someone can create a Bapes golf club, but we'd like to work with those companies as a licensor, because
I
again, if you
see.
have a trademark, we can license the name to strategic partners and create value that way. So again, you're building a community. So if you're going into this space and you're thinking, I'm gonna connect with tens of thousands of people, they're gonna buy our NFTs, they're gonna be part of our community, they're gonna be part of our project, then you should also be thinking, I need to trademark this, so at least I
Hmm.
can even show the community, look, we believe in this so much, we
Yeah.
trademarked the name. Like there's a lot of psychology behind it, in addition to a smart business move.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that makes sense. As, thinking about it, this is a derivative projects free for all right now. So you'll get projects like Bears Deluxe or Board Ape Yacht Club, and especially
Yeah.
apes right now. Like anything apes, like everything apes, apes ice skating, apes eating chocolate bars, apes in 3D, apes in 2D, apes. You know what I mean? Like that is the derivative
But
project.
the issue there, if one of those fails miserably, psychologically, it may bring them all down. So
Interesting.
you'd want them all to succeed. And if that's a go-to name, then everybody going into that, branding NFT should think, I want to add value to this movement. I don't want to create
Hmm.
something that's gonna fail.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just,
I didn't think.
I didn't mean to
No, you're
interrupt you, but
good. No,
go
everybody's
on.
in the same boat. I get that. Everybody's working from the same space. Um, okay, yeah. Coming from like a multidiscipline background and business structure, what are your eyes set to after Bapes and NFTs? Is there anything that you're kind of looking to in the future?
That's the problem I got myself into with all these companies. I'm always looking into the future.
Yeah,
I'm a find a need, fill a need kind of guy. So I could see something leaving this interview and say, "Oh, the market needs that," and I'll probably obsess about it until we create it and launch it into the market. So
really. Wow. Okay.
that's an open-ended question.
Yeah.
While as long as I'm breathing, I'm a worker. I love to work. I love to create value and build brands and build technology. So depending on what the market's demanding, that'll answer your question if I want to participate and build something to fill that demand.
Got it. Okay. Was COVID an easy switch for you?
We again, having a great team and access to all these different companies, we created incredible technologies that the market needed. We rolled
Really?
out products that the market needed. We rolled out solutions. We rolled out a with Nodal created the Coalition app, which is a contactless tracing app to help people detect, identify, and isolate potential infected COVID patients. And we also launched a contact tracing device with Nodal, little wearable device that factory workers or anybody in a large office building or warehouse can wear. Privacy focused. If someone is infected with an infectious disease and they're wearing the Nodal M1, their HR would ping that device as an infected device. And then the report back would be everybody that was in close proximity of that person over the last 2 weeks will be notified, please get tested, please stay home, or monitor
Wow.
yourself as someone was sick. And the important part of that solution was, if one person's sick, and even in today's market, they shut down the entire warehouse or the entire facility or the entire plant. But if that one person was only in close proximity of 2, 3, 5, 20 people, then it's just those people are told to stay home and just monitor yourself, and the facility can stay operational. So really, the intent on that is to keep production moving, keep people employed, and obviously keep people safe.
Wow, dang, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you really swiveled on that good, when COVID hit, bringing up some changes to industry. Um,
Yeah, you gotta find. There's always opportunity, and you gotta be quick and you gotta be smart. Sitting back and worrying, which is normal. We're all human, and everybody just got dealt an awful deck during COVID. I mean, the whole world is disrupted. Everybody's living in fear and anxiety, even to this day. But if you take a breath and you look at, it's a great chapter to reinvent yourself. If you were doing a job that you hated, what a great moment to reset and start a new chapter of your life. Or if you're creative and you want to do what you really love, what you want to do in life, here's a great moment to go down that path and be happy and have passion and fuel that passion. So depending on how you want to look at life, it's hard. I know it firsthand.
Yeah.
I try to look at the positive sides, and that everything happens for a reason. And if you could just take yourself out of the situation for a moment and look around, there's always opportunities. And then that's probably why these NFTs are very popular too, because people are looking for opportunities. They're looking for ways to bring in money and be part of a community and feel some self-worth. So there's
Yeah.
a lot happening that made this what it is, and a lot of different variables.
Yeah, yeah, I could totally see that coming from like I grew up gaming a little bit, and your gaming identity became in some respects almost, people would know you by it. They'd call you by that identity or whatnot. And it's interesting now with NFTs, a lot of people are synonymous with their NFT, even more so than their real name, and it has become
Yeah,
like your digital identity, your like social footprint is actually more important than your physical footprint or what you say
yeah,
in person, because people are identifying with how many followers you have, what your profile picture looks like, how many likes it received. I talked to one creator of an NFT project, and he said with every new move in innovation becomes a brand new move in expectation from everybody. And he told me, everybody's looking for social proof now. That's it. They want to
yeah.
know if you're a cool person to get to know by how many followers you have. They want to know about your project and whether it's a good project by how many followers you have. So it's interesting, it almost feels like high school, but world size,
Yeah, yeah.
popularity.
You're absolutely right. That's the reality that we're going through. And we try to stay in both worlds with
Yeah.
all of our companies and holdings. How do you operate in both worlds? How do you make an impact? And how do you bridge the gap? And
Yeah.
bridging it's the fun part,
Yeah.
because what you're doing and experiencing in the metaverse or the gaming environment, or any VR experience, how can you bring that excitement and moment into real life, and vice versa? How can you take what the private aviation planes? I'm going to board a plane and fly somewhere. That's People understand that model that have flown on a plane before. But now, how can you experience that in VR
Interesting.
and also back in real life? So, coming up with creative strategies that adds value and experience and access in both worlds, that's one of my favorite things to do
Mm,
right now in this moment, is
interesting. Yeah.
bridging the gap, because you still have to live in the real world. You have to go somehow. Well, it's a lot less interactive. You can have your food delivered. You can have everything delivered to you now, so you don't really have to leave the house. But there's still some interaction. There has to be some social interaction for people in
Yeah.
the real life, and I think that's very important. Again, for your mental health and wellness, and not to not to be completely consumed in a metaverse reality. There has to be a balance, and these are my opinions.
No,
Maybe
no, I
the
agree.
world would be better in VR, but you have to live and breathe, right? And you have to
Yeah.
have some of these real life experience. So connecting the two is the fun part. Like, how do we bring brands properly into the metaverse? Not just to have a brand there, like a sign in a stadium, but how does that brand actually connect with the community or the user, and how can they engage with it? Again, it'd be amazing to do that in real life while you're doing it in the metaverse. And these are the conversations that we're having
I see.
right now with Bapes, and
Yeah.
doing that. So that was a long tangent answer, but
No, no,
I'm
I
thrilled
appreciate it.
with being that middle guy to connect the two worlds.
Yeah, it seems like it needed it because, in this 21st century, digital content is the best thing to sell on God's green earth. It's like when we used to sell workout DVDs. You have initial timing, you have
Yeah,
initial work investment, and then you sell the DVD a million times in a row. And then it went to
yeah,
digital download, and they're like, oh man, this just got even better because
yeah,
now they're clicking buttons instead of we're printing DVDs.
yeah.
And
No cost.
yeah, yeah, you do your initial game and then you sell digital content. I mean, you're talking about it's crazy here because you don't need to buy anything. So no, it's I think you're exactly right. Hitting that stride in between both places,
Yeah,
where because right now the digital space, especially NFTs, is pretty strictly that. It's pretty hard to find, besides meetups and stuff like that,
yeah,
to find like, hey, if you own this NFT, you get DoorDash free twice a month. If you own this NFT, you get an opportunity to fly once a year for free.
yeah.
Stuff like that, that doesn't exist yet. So no, that'll be really cool. I think that's it. That's all the questions I had, that I
Oh, this
wrote
was great.
down.
You're a rock star.
No,
You're a great
no.
you're a great host. No, it's a great conversation. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.